Hello good peoples, and welcome to Into the Breach. This is a new game from the FTL developers, and by new I mean it's several months old at this point, but I'm just getting around to recording it. I've completely completed it, but I'm going to be playing with the very default settings, so as not to spoil things. That is, I'm playing with Ralph Carlson as my time traveller, who gets 2 bonus experience per kill, and I'm playing as the Riftwalk as the first squad. I'm going to be playing on normal because this is going to be an utter disaster. Like FTL before it, it's a difficult game. Anyway, the basic concept of the game is that aliens called the Vek are invading what remains of Earth. This is Earth in the far future after global warming meant that we're only living on the very tops of mountains. And, well, the Vek won. In fact, the Vek won so thoroughly that we abandoned that timeline, went back in time, and now, with our giant mechs, we're attempting to save an alternate Earth. This applies to all of your losses and all of your victories. Every one of them is canonical. No matter what happens, you end up going back in time to a different timeline and trying to save a different Earth. Now there are 4 islands, but if you're playing for the first time, only this one, Archive, would be open. You unlock them as you do each of them. We have to win at least 2 of the islands, then we can go and take the fight to the Vek's nest. But you can do 3 or 4, the difficulty of the final mission scales depending on how many you've done. So it's a sort of balancing act of, will I get more strength from doing another mission than the Vek will gain from me having done another mission. Anyway, Corporate HQ is safe for the moment, and we can choose which mission to do. Once we do a mission, we can assault the areas next to it. So if I wanted to get down here, I'd have to do the research center, then this area, then this area. These little icons indicate what I will get for doing it. A star is reputation. That's essentially a currency that I can trade in after I've cleared the island. And over here is power. Power is essentially your health. When that runs out, the game is over. Let's go here, to the artifact vaults. Our side missions: end the battle with less than 4 mech damage, protect the coal plant. Alright, as for what kind of game it is. It is a strategic turn-based game. I'm going to put you here. You can go here. Thinking artillery mech can swing up the back. Oh. And immediately we have a time pod. Time pods are a bonus objective. Okay. Well, I can see immediately. This is how the game works. The Vek take their turn and indicate what they're going to do. In this case, these 2 scarabs are going to attack civilian buildings. In addition to killing civilians, which is a bad thing, this will damage our grid infrastructure and lower our power. The mechs themselves have health, however, they're repaired to full after every mission. If they're completely wiped out, the pilot will die, but that's less of a sacrifice. We can put up with it. As for what that pod was, if we run over it, we can pick it up. Anyway, I'm going to move down here and face this fella. What this fella is a shell scion. It doesn't attack, but just by existing, all the Vek get 1 armor. That's not good. So let's punch him. It slams into the mountain and dies. Aside from the fact my attack did 2 damage, the fact that it got shoved into an object deals damage. Here we have the Taurus cannon, deals 1 damage and pushes the target. So this will deal 1 damage, but because it's also getting shoved into a mountain, that'll do the 2nd damage and take it out. And finally this one. I'm going to move up here, and I can't actually kill it outright because of my Artemis cap artillery only dealing 1 damage. But what I can do is fire in such a way it's shoved out of position and now it's aiming at this mountain instead. And this is the core of the game. How do you avoid taking damage to civilian buildings? And quite often the answer is going to be by letting your mechs take the hits instead. Shove you into the fire. I set that forest on fire when I shot it. Now, I think I'm going to do this. This indicates a Vec is going to dig up the next turn. So, but if I'm standing on it, then instead of that coming up, they will take 1 damage. Okay, what order do I want to do this in? I mean, my mech will take 1 damage and the Vec will fail to surface. Okay, let's think about this. If I shoot him, he'll slam into that, he'll die. I can then punch it, and it'll take him 1 damage from getting shoved into, and he'll die. So that's the correct order. If I'd done it the other way, the punch would deal 2 damage, he'd take 1 damage, thump. Yeah, I think it actually works either way, come to think of it. Yeah, it should work either way. Okay, that wasn't as much of a conundrum as I thought it was. That one's on fire, but it's aiming at nothing, so it's irrelevant. But I do have to keep an eye on the damage my mechs take in this case, because I got the quest to have less than 4 damage when the battle ends. Oh yes. What this scorpion does is I can't move. Okay. I'm thinking. Oh yes, and on the topic of this, I think they're called fireflies? Yeah, fireflies deal direct line of damage. If something gets in the way, like the tank, it'll hit that, but if the tank moves, it's just going to hit the coal plant, which I don't want. Whereas the fireflies have an arcing lob shot. They can shoot over things, and standing in between them won't do it. What I'm thinking is, if I do this, now the scarab is missing. Wait a minute, I did that wrong. You can reset turn once per battle. This is important. What I actually want to do is get you dead first, and then shove. You meanwhile are going to stand on top of the emerging Vec and spend your turn repairing yourself. This scorpion burns to death. The scarab, swing and a miss. 2 Vec come up, and the tank blocks the next emerging. This one has chosen its final turn quite poorly. I can just step out of the way and it's wasted. Now there's no actual incentive to wipe out all the Vec aside from the small amount of experience you get. But you know, it's something. So that firefly is going to miss. He's going to burn. And then the battle is over. Every battle is essentially, can you last for 5 turns, and can you pass your objectives in that time. In this case, I not only passed both my objectives, the coal plant is intact, and I had less than 4 damage total. No civilians died, so that's a perfectly executed mission. And because I recovered that pod, I get a reactor core that's used to upgrade mechs, and a weapon. This is a prime class weapon, shoves all adjacent tiles. That's not great. I'll sell it later when we get the opportunity. Once you complete a level, you can sell your excess storage. Okay, and this is what the power core is used for. As you can see, I need 1 point to get buildings immune, or 3 to get +2 damage. Also, all mechs will have +2 health or +1 moves upgrades. They're tempting. The +1 damage is really quite significant. It can make all of the difference to do 2 damage instead of 1. Buildings immune isn't bad, as it shows in the demonstration. You can use it to shove Vec, which are adjacent to a building, by shooting the building itself. But for the moment, I think I'm going to hold off on upgrading. Now I want to do this one just so I can get access to there in case that looks like a better mission. And this mission has a threat. Tidal waves. These tiles, any tile with that symbol is going to get wiped out the next turn by an incoming wave. Hopefully you're already seeing some of the tactical depth of this game. Artillery is a useful one. You want artillery on the back row with a nice clear line because it can essentially just sweep back and forth Space Invader style. Oh, you have picked some atrocious spots, my friends. This one is at immediate risk of getting punched once and dying, and it will. This one will then have 1 damage, so either cannon or artillery mech can take it out. This one is going to get killed immediately by the tides. In fact, if we hover over attack order, we can see what order things will happen. Over here we can see environment triggers first, so that is a complete non-threat. And enemy action order does matter. In the case of things like fireflies, because they're going to hit whatever's directly in front of them, if you shove them so their attack will hit an enemy, that could matter. Like, you don't have to worry about a Vect that's going to hit a building if a firefly is going to take its turn first and kill it with a misaimed shot. Still, like I said, first action is to ruin that one's day. Your pilots will chime in when stuff happens, they all have their own personalities. I think Chris Avallone was actually the writer for this. Once again I'm going to be parking to... No. Once again I'm going to be parking, but first I'm going to do this. Notice that was shoving that tile. I would have shoved my cannon mech with Leader. These two are just randomized name pilots. Leader and Mikhaila Berezin. You can get the rest of the hireable pilots, as it were, the selectable ones at the start. They come in as special rewards for completing missions. You can find them in pods. That's a lot of Vec. Yeah, that one's going to set itself on fire coming up, so I'm not too concerned. This one isn't going to be able to move because my tank is in the way, so it's actually going to be sitting where the tidal wave comes in. And again, these two have picked very bad spots. Again, now I've got to get out of the way. Oh dear, do not chain me down. You did exactly the thing I didn't want you to do. Okay, we're about to learn a lesson in the nature of sacrifice. Well, first off, let go. Now, I'm going to stand in the fire, punch that. I'm going to take shoving damage, and I'm going to be set on fire, which is not ideal. But I will live. Let's fix up that damage. Doesn't matter. Yeah, Ralph is battered, but we're living! And again, mechs are completely repaired. So long as you don't die, irrelevant. Health is a resource to spend. You want to throw your health away if it means you can save something else. And when you're promoted, you gain a random upgrade, plus 3 grid defense. When buildings take a hit, they have a chance to not take damage. Unfortunately, plus 3 grid defense is pretty much the worst thing you can roll on an upgrade. It's It's better than nothing, but you can also get plus health, plus movement, plus free reactive core point, which is nice. Now, I've got max out power grid. If I get more by doing the missions, I will just get more grid defense points, so instead I'm going to try and get more requisition. Requisition or reputation, I can't remember what. Our mission is to destroy the dam and take less than 3 grid damage. And we've got an excellent spot for the artillery. It can sweep all the way along here and shoot any tile. Meanwhile, the brute, the punching prime mech would rather be much close. I'm good at words. Would rather be up close and sort of a hybrid thing there. Okay, first things first. Go away. We can survive being in the water. They can't. Next things next. There we go. Now that Firefly isn't shooting anything important. This is an interesting mission. I always like the dam ones because it's quite fun to solve your problems by getting the dam flooding. Okay, unfortunately the Vex surface after the others attack. As we can see here, Action 3, enemies emerge, so I'm not going to see an enemy dig up and immediately get shot by a firefly. Ralph's going to swing down, he's not going to get here in time. I could shoot it for 1 damage, but that will shove it out of the way of the Scorpion. In fact, it would take the same damage, and I could have 1 less total damage if I spend my turn repairing. I can still punch, but there's not a whole lot of point. I could set this forest on fire, but why would I want to do that? Of course, if an enemy ends up standing there and I've not set it on fire as a result, I'll be wrong. Oh great, it's another shield Scion. Now everything's a bit harder to kill. Okie dokie. First things first is wondering what the heck I do about this shell Scion. Oh, by the way, shoving damage is not in any way negated by having armor. So what I think I'm going to do is this. That was, my punch was reduced by 1, so it did 1 damage. It hit that, which did another 1 damage, and it's on fire, so now it's going to die. That will die in 2 turns to burning. This is going to shoot the artillery, which can take the hit if I choose to, or I could just step out of the way, which actually makes a lot more sense. And in fact, I'm going to. In fact, Leader can do this. And you can solve this problem. Guess what? Armor doesn't help you breathe underwater. Burn. See? Look at that. I was outnumbered horribly and I immediately swung the situation to my advantage just through clever positioning. Go away. Go for a swim. The Rift Walkers aren't terribly gimmicky. And you know what, just to make it as neat as possible. Rift Walkers aren't too gimmicky, but all of their units can shove. That's the most basic possible gimmick in the game. Positioning is important to every squad, but the Rift Walkers being the basic squad have the most basic gimmick. Okay, 1 more mission and then we're done with Archive. We'll do this one, defend the satellite launchers. This can be a very difficult mission. So we'll just check what else we got. Actually, Safeguard Valley's mission is way more fun. Defend the tanks. We've got to defend these little old tanks that they're fixing up. And yes, each of the islands has their own flavour. Archives is that they're essentially trying to preserve what Earth was like before global warming killed everything. So they got these antique military tanks, which are presumably more advanced than anything we got these days. Okay, you are shooting at me, which means I can just get out of the way. I can shoot this one and shove it in the water, that's fine. Ralph can't get to hit this one without hitting it into the tank, which isn't ideal, but Michaela here can shove it into the water with a good shot. Like so. By the way, while you can only reset your turn entirely once per mission, you can undo your move any number of times until you actually attack. So, you know, if you eyeballed it wrong, which tile you need to go to. In the drink. This is all going very well for normal difficulty. It will get harder. The first island is the easiest, the next island will be harder, and so on. So it all really depends what order you tackle things in. Go away. actually. Forget that. 1 damage, and now it's... Remember how I took damage when I blocked a Vec coming up? That applies to them as well. Getting Vec dead by having other Vec in their way is always good. It's efficient. And now with 2 turns to go, Archive's mechanics have finished their repair works. And now the tank is fighting for us. Unfortunately their attacks just shove. They're not really up to killing Vec standard. But the fact that the tanks can move makes defending them significantly easier. Case in point. Actually no, this isn't a case in point, this is just me killing a Vec. That's fun too though. But I can make this one get out of the way. Okay. You can go away as well. Deep Sixth. You can come down here. You can shove that. You can get out of the way. And you can drop them. Easy as that. 3 more Vec and the mission's over. You know, if you're going to keep standing next to water, I'm just going to keep doing the exact same thing to you. Archive does tend to be... Well, each of the missions can have its own difficulty depending on when you tackle it. Archive does tend to be quite easy, I find, because drowning Vec is so simple when there's this much water. The other islands are rather drier. +1 mech movement, that's very nice, and +1 mech reactor. I could move them around if I felt like, say, the +1 movement that Leader's now giving would be more beneficial in this artillery mech. I could have them move over there. I'm not going to for the moment though. Anyway, I got +1 reactor from Michaela, so I'm going to give her... Should I give her health or movement, or make buildings immune to her attacks? I'll go with buildings immune for the moment. You can actually reassign at any point. It's like power in FTL. In any case, the Vec are attacking the corporate headquarters. Oh, I hate this mission. The boss you get is randomized. The goo is a nuisance boss. Our objective, kill 5 goos. It's the standard goo rules. You break it, it becomes multiple smaller ones. And protect the corporate tower. This is also not a great mission for artillery. Like back here I can hit most of the tiles, but this row is going to be a problem. Also, the boss has the massive rule. If I shove it into water it doesn't die, it's too big. Its head's still sticking out of the water. Excuse me. Now the goo doesn't have attack in the regular sense, it just deals death damage to anything it rolls over. Don't let it roll over you. I'm gonna have to think about these things because... Okay. Here's what I'm thinking. Oh, that's convenient. Yes, and it's sitting on top of an upcoming tile. That was a very fortuitous turn. There's another goo dead. Unfortunately, they're still splitting. I've killed 2 of 5 on the first turn though, so that's a nice start. I don't think the smallest goos deal death damage, but they still hurt a lot. Efficiency. The goos don't actually attack on the turn they spawn, which is good. Okay. Thinking here. Which also gives me space to flee down here and get rid of that goo. Also note the people in the buildings actually comment if you kill someone next to them. And they cheer when you show up, which I haven't been commenting on. I'd cheer if a squad this good showed up. I'm doing great on this mission. This is pure fluke that I'm doing this amazing. I mean, I've already wiped out 5 goos. One more and I've completely killed the goo, which is normally my least favourite boss. Actually, not my least favourite, but it's close. That said... Okay, I can... If I fire an artillery shot at the shell scion, this is shoved out of position as not threatening. This can then... No, that won't work, because if I fire while artillery mech's there, it'll just bounce off and it won't actually get out of the way of the building. I can't make it far enough to shoot that. Actually, what's my movement? 3. No, even if that was dead, I couldn't make it up to punch the scarab. I think the solution is to step back, deliberately let myself get set on fire, hit the shell scion, shove that out of the way, use cannon mech's turn to shoot the scarab, not dealing any damage because of the scion, but not having it not hit that, and combat mech kills the goo. I think that's the correct movement. I don't like it when the correct movement involves and then set yourself on fire. 1, 2, and no, I can't get it down to hit the shell scion either. There's an upgraded combat mech's punch ability that makes you able to dash up to 5 tiles in a straight line to punch. That would be helpful because then I could walk down, shoot over and punch it right in the stupid face. Alternatively, I can choose to sacrifice innocence. Like, if I was just willing to let that take 1 damage, that would simplify a lot of my problems. I'd rather not do that. And I do have to contend with the fact that 2 more Vec are coming, and anyone I leave alive now is going to be another threat I have to deal with. As you can see, I can only hit 3 things, so I've got more threats than that. I've got the potential that there could be an unavoidable damage. No, I think I had the right of it. Or at least no obvious other solution. I'm going to swing combat mech to punch from this direction so I've got less distance to walk to deal with tiles here. Ouch, fire sucks. Sorry, mountain range. That's irrelevant. Firefly. Okay, good. Good. Please keep pointing all your problems at this one that can move. I'm gonna have to repair, otherwise Michaela dies. Okay, I'm gonna punch the Cell Scion, killing that, and letting Leader through here to shoot the Scarab and get it out of the way. And I'm just gonna suck up the hit with Ralph. There we go. Health is a resource. Spend it. Perfect victory. And because I got a perfect island, and I wasn't expecting to do that, that's completed every single mission. Saving all the civilians is sheerly for points, and also for preserving the power grid. Now I get a choice. I can have a weapon, some more grid power, which translates to grid defense since it's full, or a new pilot. The pilot is Isaac Jones, who gets an extra reset turn every battle. See, a new pilot seems good, but his special ability isn't amazing. An extra reset turn is nice, but if you're not making mistakes in the first place, you don't need it. Plus, these two have already had promotions. Repair drop is kinda useful. The ability to heal all of your mechs, and so like you spend one action and it's as if you healed with everyone. It's very useful sometimes. I'm probably actually going to take that. Let's spend this reputation. Reputation is per island, there is no point hoarding anything. So we can buy weapons, supplies, we can donate. I'm going to get rid of those vents because they're kind of useless. I could have taken Isaac and just donated him for 2 reputation, which I probably should have done. So what have we got? Force Amp. All Vec take +1 damage from bumps. That's very nice. Nanobots, max heal damage if they deal a killing blow, that's quite useful. Ability to deploy an acid tank. Acid is a state effect that doubles damage taken. And smoke pellets raise a smoke screen. You cannot attack or repair in a smoke screen. I'm actually really tempted by this Force Amp. A couple of reactor cores, and just because I've got 1 spare, I'm going to overpower the grid. Who gets... You can have the Force Amp. And... let's see... You can have +1 damage. There we go. But that was just 1 of 4 islands. There's still RST Corporation, Pinnacle Robotics, and Detritus to do. But that seems like an excellent place to call it. I highly recommend you check out Into the Breach. There is so much going on with this game. Like I said, I'm just showing you the absolute most basic squad possible. The squads get gimmicky and cool. Like, if you played FTL, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't played FTL, you should go play that as well. It's also an excellent game. But this is just such a clean and elegant design. The way that everything that Vec do is telegraphed to you, you can think. It's a proper strategic game because you know what's going to happen. You can think through each step and work it out. It's not deterministic. Obviously, I can't control what the Vec will do, but I know what they are going to do once they are committed to it and prevent it. It's a clever game that there's so much depth to. Like, even on normal, which I'm very much surprised, you can get through if you're doing it cleverly. But, like I said, that was Into the Breach. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.